This presentation is for all of us who care for the dogs. Most people are used to leaving medical issues to their vet, but in rescue, we can't do that. Dogs may see 2 or 3 vets during their time in rescue. We want to maintain good communication as dogs move through the chain from shelters to adopters. We're all responsible for the dog's care, and as individuals, we get better at it as we gain experience. Over time, like any organization, we've developed best practices on how this is done. Let's go over the guidelines we've developed for meeting our medical requirements. Two of the most important people in this process are the frontline foster and the receiving foster at the other end. The frontline foster is the first person caring for the dog upon intake. They make sure the dog is healthy and meets the medical requirements for travel. They let the foster coordinator know when the dog is ready to travel, and they include the foster coordinator in the dog's plans and let him or her know if those change. The receiving foster assesses the health of the dog. They review the foster transfer form. They check to see if medical requirements were met, and if there are any problems, they consult with the state foster coordinator. The state foster coordinator lets the intake team know where the dog can be moved and when the dog can be moved. They review the foster transfer form with the frontline or the receiving foster. And if there are any medical, behavioral, or travel issues, they contact the National Foster Coordinator. The National Foster Coordinator's role is to be aware of the dog's travel arrangements and coordinate with the intake team. If there are any behavioral issues, she contacts the behavioralist. If there are any medical issues, she'll contact the medical team. And if there are any foster transfer or contract issues, she contacts the secretary. If there are volunteer or other issues, she will contact the president. How do we move healthy dogs? We have a 2-week quarantine for dogs coming out of the shelter. There's a similar observation period for owners, surrenders, and strays. The spay or neuter minimum is 1 week prior to transport. Can be as long as 10 days for females. A microchip should be inserted at the spay and neuter or the time of the health certificate. Deworming is important, and that takes place upon intake or a week or more before the fecal test so it can take effect. We do the 4 IDEXX tests for heartworm, Ehrlichia, Lyme, and anaplasmosis for dogs 6 months or more. We do the 3 IDEXX if the 4 IDEXX is not available. When there's a vet visit, we like to send a letter to the vet with the appointment day and time, and it talks about our expectations of working with them. We make arrangements ahead of time so the vet can be paid by credit card. And we get and we keep all the vet records, including medical notes and invoices. And the medical notes may not be available that day. You may have to wait for them, but it's important to get them. And to have the vet fax all the invoices, records to our 800 fax number for uploading to rescue groups. Here's the plan for adult dogs. No record means no vaccinations. If a dog comes into rescue and there is no record of their vaccinations, the dog must be revaccinated. Adult dogs get rabies and DA2 PP shots upon intake. The Bordetella shot is needed for travel. The nasal is preferred. If you vaccinate the dog yourself, attach the vaccination tags that come on the vials to the dog's papers. and make a note of when they were given. Don't overload the dog system with shots or medications all at once. And say no to the Lyme vaccine if you are asked by a veterinarian if you want one. Here are the types of shots offered in the veterinarian's office. The 5-way DA2PP. The D is for canine distemper. A2 is for adenovirus type 1 and 2. The first P is for canine parvovirus, and the second P protects against parainfluenza. This is the shot that we use most commonly. There's also the 7-way, which is the DA2PPL, which includes 2 strains of leptospirosis vaccine. This is not usually given to our dogs, except if they are going to Maine where it is required. The DA2PPL plus CV is the DA2PP plus 2 lepto strains and protecting against coronavirus. We usually do not get this vaccine because our dogs go to areas where coronavirus is not present. Here's the ground rules for puppies. We need to slow down. We shouldn't rush to move the dogs. We now have added an available date to puppy listings, so both the fosters and the adopters know when dogs will be available. Puppies can be transferred between NGPR fosters at any time, adhering to the no pause on the ground rule. Puppies should be mature over the fear stage of 8 to 11 weeks before they head off as singles. They need 2 sets of shots before going to adopters, and they should not be put on a paid transport until after they've received 2 shots. Puppies are never placed on foster to adopt contracts, and we prefer that litter mates should not be adopted together. We move puppies with care. Puppy transfers must be to a safe environment. No other puppies under 6 months should be there. They should only go with vaccinated dogs out of the shelter a month or more. There should be no parvo, giardia, or coccidia infections on the property. When the puppy's moved to a foster, they get a puppy pack, which is a dewormer, flagell pills, and transition puppy food. And the receiving foster needs to watch carefully for lethargy, loose or bloody stools, coughing, vomiting, or spitting up. If there are any issues or concerns, the foster needs to inform the foster coordinator, who will let the national foster coordinator know. And if there are puppies with puppies involved, then Andy can help advise on what to do. Here's our puppy vaccination schedule. They can get Bordetella as their first shot early as 5 weeks. They get the 5-way shot, their first shot at 6 weeks, and that can be given by the foster. Their second can follow in 4 weeks, possibly as little as 3. That can also be given by the foster. Rabies can be given at 12 to 16 weeks, and that must be given by the vet. And the third 5-way shot can be given at 14 to 16 weeks, and frequently that's given by the adopter who has the puppy by that time. Here are some final tips. Never rush foster or adoption placements. Your patience and time will be rewarded. Observe the safety first rule when moving dogs to fosters. When questions or challenges occur, refer them to the state or national foster coordinators. The foster hotline is 877-574-0056. In emergencies, call or text. We hope you found this presentation informative, and we thank you for helping the dogs and keeping them safe.